The content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine podcast and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. Hello. Today I have the incredible privilege of reconnecting with Ebonie Allard, one of our amazing contributors. Ebonie is a fulfillment coach, soul contract guide, and is an amazing culture change maker. She is to help anyone else who is a culture maker decode their soul contract and integrate shadow patterns while reigniting their sacred spark so that they can truly feel alive and aligned. She is the creator of Kismet Codes and Kismet Flick, and she weaves human design, gene keys, astrology, and numerology with somatic practices so that she can create an energetic alchemy for a playful yet profound path to self-discovery. Whether you are seeking clarity, confidence, or a touch of magic, she is here to help you see yourself and live a life in a whole new light. Welcome, Ebonie.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so delighted that you are here today. And for anybody who already knows our special segment, stay tuned because we're going to be doing a really deep dive into my personal human design, which is one of her specialties. So definitely stick around. Today, we're exploring sovereignty, which is our theme for our new moon issue. And in your article, The Shadow of Self-Leadership, you share that sovereignty is not just about hyper independence or a rigid reliance on one particular thing. That is more of an invitation to see sovereignty as discernment and humility and the ability to respond to life with presence. You go into things like the tension between freedom and support, and you acknowledge that while nobody is coming to save you, which I think a lot of us wish they would, but to allow yourself to receive more counsel and wisdom from your own self, and it's not a weakness. And so we really dive a lot into perfection and control and the dance between holding and releasing and all of these things. But I think one of the things that you really go deeply into is the shadow versus the light. So for anyone who hasn't read your article yet, maybe you can do a really beautiful synopsis for them.
Well, if you are someone who sees shadow work as dark or uncomfortable or something that you're trying to get rid of, or, and I get the other side as well, where people are like a kink, I'm going to really go into my shadow and they want more and more and more of it, then you'll really enjoy this article, because the way that I see sovereignty and shadow work and that I talk about in the article is that we're really talking to wholeness. And we're talking to integrity. And what people think about integrity, quite often, they mean morality or they mean ethics. And integrity has got nothing to do with morality. It's got nothing to do with ethics. Integrity is to do with wholeness. Something holds its integrity when it has all of its parts. We lose integrity when it's not true, when it isn't full, when it's not complete. So if you take the spoke of a wheel out, it loses integrity, and over time, it will wear thin and break. And so when we're doing shadow work, when we're looking at sovereignty, we're looking to integrate the whole rather than separate. And one of the things that I feel is creating distortion in the world at large is this separation. Now, we need to separate things into parts in order to understand them. But this is something that has confused me since school, where we're taught history and geography, and each of these different things are separate subjects. And often when you go and see a dentist and then you go and see a doctor, or you go and see a dermatologist, or you go and see this one, and they treat each part of you as if it's entirely separate from the other. And so from a very early age, we are looking at ourselves as these different parts, and we want to understand each component, but ultimately we want to put it all back together so that it can be whole, so that it can be sovereign, so that it can be self-governing. And that's what sovereign really means. It means to be free, it means to be whole, it means to take ownership rather than control. And this is something that, again, I can put into a picture for you. When you own your apartment, you treat it very differently than if you rent it. If you own it, you might invest in redoing the plumbing, or you might invest in changing the roof, or you might invest in, this expensive problem with the electricity. But if you are renting, you might just want to control the problem. You might just want to control the situation. And the same is true for our bodies and our lives. Most of the time, people are looking to take control of their reality, to take control of their body. I need to take back control of my life. I think, no, you do not want to take back control of your life. You want to take ownership of your life. And when you take ownership of your life, it's very different. And so for me, when we're looking at shadows, we're not looking at how can I correct this part of myself. What we're really looking to see is, what is the information this part of myself is giving me about what is not integral, what is not working in synthesis with everything else. And so very often in relationship, or another person can see what we can't. And that is why to be sovereign doesn't mean to dominate. To be sovereign means to work in synergy, or in harmony, or in collaboration with others, and to know what you are and know what you're not. And there are some things I'm really great at. One of them is describing things in stories. One of them is helping you to see what you can't see, or showing another perspective. Not very good at small details and repetition. So I have people in my life that are both the same, so that I can have harmony and so that I can feel understood. But then I also have people who are really different, because that creates contrast, it creates conflict, it creates spark. It's where the aliveness comes from. It creates polarity, and that's attraction. And you and I are a classic example of that. Like, we are 6 months apart and I'm the other side of the wheel, and it works so beautifully. And sometimes we've had conversations where I'm like, I really don't understand. And to you, it's like, I'm putting it in a hierarchical order. I'm like, but that order makes no sense to me. And it's beautiful because I get to see things differently and you get to see things differently. And so many people instantly are on defensive, right? You're wrong, I'm right, or I'm wrong, you're right. And then they don't have that complete experience. And so sovereignty is being able to hold your own whilst also opening your mind and allowing somebody else to be right, or allowing more than one reality to exist at the same time. So if any of that sounds interesting, please do go and read the article.
It is time to rise. We are being called to stand behind independent voices, movements, and media that refuse to be owned. Sovereign Magazine has never spoken to an advertiser, a corporation, or a billionaire. We are a grassroots movement made for and funded by you. If you are ready to rise, to shatter ceilings, and to stand in your truth, do it with us. It's free. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share. Every click helps us reach more people around the globe, ready to remember who they are. Are you coming with us? Oh, I love this so much. Okay, so I'm going to move us into our special segment because it's going to weave so beautifully with what we're talking about. And you said several things I wanted to point out. Information, right? we need information. And then you were talking about conversations, and you're right and I'm wrong. And I absolutely love when the two of us have a conversation, because I'm like, ooh, a new perspective. Ooh, here it comes. I like get really excited with new perspectives. And so when I gave you my birth date and everything for my human design, the first thing you said is, yay, I have your roadmap. And so for anybody listening, I want to share with you that on Ebonie's monthly call in her free community in Sovereign Magazine, on community.sovereign-magazine.com, called the Maven Haven, she will get you your report, your numerology, your astrology, your gene key. She goes through these things with you. And so this is going to be an example of how she helps you get more information about yourself, learn more about yourself, get your roadmap, understanding who you are so you don't feel like you have to be in that control all the time, and you can be in your sovereignty. So why don't you go ahead and start wherever you want to start with my chart?
The first thing I wanted to say, or just, is there anything that you are confused about, or anything that people have said to you that you're like, that doesn't really land with me, or it feels confusing, or it feels disempowering? Because that really helps me getting in. Otherwise, I can just say what I see. But that's, for me, again, like if we're bringing it back to why I host the community call, information is no good to anyone without application. And you're only ever going to apply that which is real for you in your life right now. So if there's anything going on in your life, and or you've had people say things where you're like, I don't get it, this is a really great opportunity, because then I can respond and help make it real and tangible for you.
Yeah, so funny. You were saying earlier how you so beautifully tell things through stories. I'm the exact opposite. Don't ask me to explain something. I cannot regurgitate. So if somebody said, oh, what did you talk about on the call with Ebonie today? I would just say, she read my chart. And I would not be able to explain anything else that happened, because it's more energetic for me than it is an ability to put things into words. So I have often got, I don't understand what you're saying, which is exactly what you said. And I think that's, from what my knowledge is, it's about my throat chakra, right? It's not defined.
Yes, and so you are correct that your throat is not defined. However, the reason that you experience this is not because of that. You've actually got, when we have an undefined center, it means that you have inconsistent access to that. It means that we become conditioned in that space. It means that is an area where you get to become really wise, because you're sampling all the different ways. And that means that then it's not that, oh, I don't have a powerful voice. What it actually means is you can take on any voice, which is something that makes you a really good editor, right? Because you can take on any voice. So when we have defined centers, we have our own way. We have a signature way. We have consistent access to that energy, and it's ours. And we don't see another way, because this is the way. And you have a split definition. What does split definition means? It means that there are two segments to your chart. So you have your head and your ajna defined. Now that means that you have your own ideas. Unlike a lot of the population have an undefined head, and that means that they go, oh, idea, oh, idea, oh, they get distracted by everything, right? Whereas you've got your own ideas, and they're very clear to you what it is that the idea is. And that then drops down into the ajna, which is also defined. And that is it's all about concepts. And so for you, you are able to conceptualize ideas into processes very easily. And you have a set way of doing that. And you can really change something, because you've got the 64-47, right? And then you've got a big split. So those two are together, they're joined, and then your throat is not defined, your G center is not defined, and then you have the bottom, nearly all of them are, right? So your spleen has a beautiful channel to your heart or will center, which has a channel to your solar plexus, which has a channel to your sacral. I actually missed one. So they're not completely connected. There's one bit that's not connected, but they're connected all the way around, almost like in a spiral. And so that's the section. And so that means that there are these two parts of you. One part of you is very grounded, We all experience that. We feel it, right? Defined root, defined way of emoting, defined way of reacting, and motivation and willpower and persistence, right? So that's one part of you. And then there's this other part of you that has a really clear idea and a really clear concept. Now, this makes you able to see the long game. It's also that Capricorn energy. You've got long game, you know where you're going, you'll put one foot in front of the other, no one's going to rush you, very patient. But these two parts are not connected. And so it can take a little while for them to meet one another. And so for you, people who bridge that for you, who are able to take what is the feeling, the energetic part in the lower part of your body, and link it to the concepts of what's going on in your mind, are very powerful for you. I have a defined throat and I have a defined will center, and we match each other up in that place. And so it means that when you hang out with me, the grounded energy that you have and the concepts of where you're going feel like they flow more easily.
It lands beautifully. And this is why people need to be in your world, because you can describe and define this in a way that makes sense. So for anybody who's wondering what she just described, we realized we were talking about it ourselves, but I'm a 1-4 generator in human design. And so that's what she was just talking about. And there's different channels and gates and things like that. And there's a beautiful graph of your body and it goes through different colors and shows you whether it's open or closed or defined and undefined. And so these are all the things that you can learn about yourself in her community.
Well, you've also really helped me. I'm going to update the info in the events to put chart clinics in, because, and you can bring any chart to me, by the way, because it's all the same language. Bring any chart to me, and it's a bit like, yeah, everyone's got this symptomology, right? I've got this going on, I've got that going on. What is it? And rather than it being about that external thing, I can help bring it in and show you the mechanics of the way that the energy is moving and or not moving. Yeah. And the other part for you that I wanted to reflect really quickly, because it's such a beautiful thing that you have, and it's so misunderstood in the world, you have 2 emotional waves. And when we have an emotional solar plexus defined, that means that we are an emotional being and we are here to move emotion and to express that. And what is often misunderstood, particularly for you because you don't have that defined throat, right? So that emotion's got to move, but it's not going to come out of your throat necessarily. And so there needs to be another way for that emotion to move. And because you've got 2, and they're beautiful channels, so the different emotional waves are all different. There's 4 different waves. And you have the subtle wave, which I have too, which is also the channel of mating. So it's about intimacy. And we are the last people to know when we're being emotional. And it looks like, come close, I've got all the time in the world for people. And then the wave hits, it's like, oh, don't touch me. That's literally what that one's about. Now, you also have a second one, which is the 3740, which is about bonding. It's mama and papa, it's mum and dad energy. It's this beautiful thing. And this one loves actual bonding, like actual touch, right up until the moment where it's either overstimulated and needs some alone time, or doesn't know it needs some alone time, or it's supported everybody else and doesn't realize that it needs some support and some holding. And so those 2 beautiful ways, I just wanted to express them back to you, because it can be, again, really tricky to understand what is going on and why am I like this. But these 2 waves are really beautiful because the channel of them is about bonding and mating. And so there's so much people energy and connection energy that you've got, and then also played out with the 1-4. And you demonstrate this so beautifully in your life. And the more we are able to understand the flip side of that, when it's in a wave, when it's in a low, right? What do we need? So for you, it's probably always going to be some alone time. And I'm going to be really naughty here and be like, and at the beginning of this call, we talked about the only space in your house you've got complete quiet and alone time is like the tiniest room in the house. Like, that is something to have a look at.
Yes, it's definitely true. I am one to be in community 99.9% of the time. But get me near my bleed, getaway. I need my space, my time alone in my bed. Don't touch me. You're absolutely spot on. And my husband has told my daughter, honey, when mama's like that, you just be quiet. So they know that they'll get in more trouble if they talk back because I get so emotional. So it's nice to feel that validation of that's just how I normally move in my life. And I am a deeply caring person. I mean, on a very deep level. So these are the types of magical things that you will experience in the community with Ebonie. She is just mind-blowing, and she will help you go from that shadow to light, just understanding who you are in this world and being completely full of yourself. That's what she's all about. All her details will be in the show notes. You can find her on all her socials and in our community.sovereign-magazine.com. Don't you worry, she's going to be with us for a very long time. Thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you for letting me see the other chart of you and the bones, the infrastructure on the inside. Because it is a really intimate thing to do. And I really appreciate it always.
My pleasure. Much love.
Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.